After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
This NARL season has taken us up, down, and all around, but tonight we go down under, visiting one of the world's most scenic racing venues. Points battles will surely come to a head and forever alter the season picture this evening with just 2 races to go. Phillip Island this evening and Road America next week. Strap in because tonight is about to get bumpy. Welcome to Pit Stop TV. I'm Andrew Cardinale with JP Costa. JP, welcome to the historic Phillip Island circuit in Australia.
Hello, Andrew. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me tonight. And well, what a circuit to be on. Obviously, it's my first time. It's going to be the debut here as well at Pit Stop TV. And I mean, it's a fantastic circuit. I've seen some hot laps with the V8 supercars. I've seen some nice battles. And well, with the show that we get from the NARL boys, this is going to be a no different. So as we take a look at the track map, obviously, I mean, each and every single lap is going to start at the start-finish line with the massive long straight that we have. After the long straight, we're going to take a look at a quick right-hander, the Duhon corner. That corner is going to be absolutely essential for the lap. You know, drivers will have to pinpoint accuracy and speed to get through that corner. Southern loop as well, a long left-hander as they line themselves up to turn 3 and a big braking zone down into turn 4 named Honda. Then a quick turn 5-6 section on Siberia. Turn 7, also a quick one. I mean, this track is quick. Each and every single corner pretty much is quick. Then Hayshed for turn 8. A long left-hander for Lukey Heights. And then a big braking zone in a very sharp corner at turn 10. And then, well, they only have 2 corners to go. Turn 11 and turn 12 will be finishing up their lap. I mean, with a track like this, things are going to get excited.
I've spent the last week or so learning this track just about as much as I'm sure the drivers have, and boy, it's been a challenge. Just getting used to each and every bend and every way that you've got to attack this place and get around here. And I will say, the most true thing about any of the corner names is Lukey Heights. It is very high up. You go from quite down low right along the cliff to, well, suddenly going up a hill quite drastically between 8 and 9 and then right back down into turn 10. But that Gardner Straight, I think, is going to be the separator between a lot of these cars. Of course, there are certain cars that have, well, a little more straight line speed. They tend to go faster in a straight line. They get the job done by the time you get down to Duhon Corner. I really think the Gardner Straight will be the separator, along with those couple of hairpins, turn 4 and turn 10, Honda corner and turn 10. Those will catch these guys out. So the fastest and the slowest sections, I think, are going to get these guys out. One other thing that I noticed a lot in practice myself, especially with the Lamborghini that I've heard a lot of drivers are opting for this week. We'll see how that turns out in a moment. But the Lamborghini tends to get just a little bit free coming over turn 2 on the exit. So it kind of dumps you out towards the beach there. It will literally dump you out towards the beach. So a lot of things to watch for this evening at this very, very challenging Phillip Island circuit. Thanks, of course, for joining us this evening, however and wherever you're watching us from. We're excited, certainly, to take a look at this graphic right here, the point standings. Yeah, it's a whole lot of fun, and things are getting spicy despite Pedro de Oliveira's lead in Pro. Really, the battle to watch is second in Pro, Mikel Rudebusch and Bryce Rodriguez, and then the entirety of the top 10 in the amateur category. Things a lot tighter, obviously, in amateur than that Pro, and we've seen that correlate between last season and this season, but we don't have that top 4 battle that we kind of had last time around in Pro. Pedro de Oliveira with his 4 wins, he has just taken off. The one big thing I think in Pro that you've got to watch for tonight is the fact that Mikel Rudebusch is not here, or at least reportedly is not able to make this race, and I'm not seeing him in practice, so that's certainly going to change things up even more.
Yeah, exactly. We were mentioning pre-race. Obviously, I did some research, and I mean, Mikel has been the name of consistency. You know, he's 28 points behind Pedro de Oliveira with absolutely no wins. His best finishing position was the 3rd place. I mean, 3 third places on the first 3 rounds, and then his worst finishing position was the 9th place around Belle Isle. So, I mean, consistency has brought him to 2nd place, but unfortunately, a DNS last week and another one this week as things are turning out. It's definitely going to be hurting his championship. Obviously, you know, one man's bad luck is going to be another man's treasure. Bryce Rodriguez with a fantastic season so far, consistent as well. It's going to be earning that 2nd place if he can secure himself a good finishing position. But as you mentioned, Andrew, all eyes might be on the amateur championship.
And really, that top 4 is starting to feel like the top 4 we had in Pro last season. Even the whole top 5, I guess. Joshua Benjamin only an extra 2 points back. So I really feel like that entire top 5 very close and can absolutely go either way. Joshua Benjamin had a couple of wins last season out. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets up there and mixes things up this evening. That is, if he is in this field. So that is our field, of course, of, well, the top 10 in each class as far as driver points. How about team points? Because I gotta be honest, full-time esports is looking pretty invulnerable right now. NARL, Team Empire, they're getting closer maybe to having to worry about losing that second spot, but Duck Hawk Racing, their fall has been large.
Yeah, exactly. Came from one of the promises of the season, haven't they? I mean, the roster was absolutely amazing, but I mean, bad luck has plagued the team, and unfortunately, they set 4th place on the standing. Unfortunately for them, I mean, technically, if you think about it, 3rd place is only 6 points difference. It's right there, and obviously 2nd place might be still up for grabs. You know, obviously this is one of their drivers' home race, so we might expect to see, you know, a good haul of points. As we look to the amateur championship, though, you know, the gap is even bigger from 1st to 2nd place. Rabbit Chase Racing with 332 points, 65 points clear of Team Empire Blue. I mean, they have been doing some work, and well, it's been paying off, for at least for the past 6 races.
Yeah, I gotta give complete hats off here to Rabbit Chase Racing. They have been stellar over in the amateur category, and they would match up as far as points earned right about in 6th, maybe 5th place. Yeah, right in between. In fact, they would slot into 6th, right between Evolution Racing and SDS Racing if they were a pro team. That's how good they've been. Almost top 5 in pro, and I think they can still get to top 5 in pro, at least if you were to compare them. So really, really impressive what William Coffey and Rabbit Chase Racing have done this season. Obviously, great efforts all around, especially when you look at Team Empire Blue and Waihuka Racing. They're going to take the podium more than likely in this amateur category, and Scott Racing has had plenty of shines of brilliance. It's just a matter of hanging on to those flashes of brilliance and holding true for a season. It has been a wild season. Let's take a look as to how we got here. 8 races on the schedule. We've already done 6 of them.
Exactly, and I mean, it has been a blast. I mean, it just flew on by, and we're looking for the final 2, Phillip Island, then we go back to the United States of America to Road America, and I mean, kind of 2 very different racetracks, isn't it, Andrew? I mean, Road America, it's kind of a flat circuit, whereas Phillip Island, you know, full of ups and downs and fast corners. It's kind of going to bring, you know, a driver's skill to the max. I mean, it's only a week from now, and it's going to be a completely different race.
Completely different. This is a very fast track. Road America, obviously a very fast track, but the corners are completely different. I don't think there's really a whole lot of similarities to be drawn. Phillip Island, a lot of sweepers, a couple of hairpins. Road America, a lot of 90-degree corners where you've got to stop and try and use as much downforce as you can. A low downforce track using as much as, I guess, whatever downforce you might have in the car to get around that place. It's going to be very interesting next week at Road America, especially with that 60-minute race length. We're back to 50 minutes this week, like we had at Silverstone most recently, but 60 minutes next week as opposed to the 50 at Road America. That'll be interesting. I do also want to mention, if iRacing only had seasons, right, we would have been in Italy in early October, Watkins Glen in the peak of autumn bloom, if you will, in late October, Belgium in late October as well, and then up to Michigan in November, and even the UK in November. Like, we would have had a fantastic look at some fall foliage right into the winter, and then we come down here to Phillip Island, where it's obviously the opposite season. Would have been the dead of, I guess, spring for Australia, almost into summer. Would have been quite warm, but man, if only iRacing had seasons, right?
I mean, it would have been fantastic. Pretty sure for some of those races, we would have needed winter tires. I mean, slow, grippy tires with nails to make sure the cars can grip onto them. But unfortunately, we do not have those right now. But I mean, with 8 minutes left on practice, pretty sure these guys are thanking the high temperatures. Oh, this is qualifying already. So, well, I mean, with 8 minutes left in qualifying, I'm pretty sure these guys are thanking the hot summer days at Australia.
Now, this is one driver that I knew would be opting for a Lamborghini today. Mike Braun in the number 107, one of our amateur competitors, knew he'd be going for it. Good to see him out here today. Let's see how his qualifying effort goes. Matthew Dench, he's in a Mercedes. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting choice. I think we talked about it last week. You know, the Mercedes might be a powerhouse car coming into this race, and I mean, if he can nail a lap together, this car can be a deadly weapon. And I mean, we just have to wait and see see if the car has the pace, the one lap pace, obviously in qualifying, but also the race length. I mean, they have to go through nearly what, a tank and a half, a tank and 1/3 throughout the race. So it needs to be kind on tires. It needs to have good fuel mileage. And I mean, I'm pretty sure he did the right car choice. I'm pretty sure the practice times for him, you know, the amount of practice he has put in will definitely pay off.
Joshua Benjamin, top of the board first in a Lamborghini, already down to turn number 1 and into the southern loop now. A good look at his green Lambo. He'll work around turn number 2. Rob Rodriguez will be one of the next ones to come across the line. He is headed up over the hill. We saw this Porsche a little bit earlier on, right as we picked up qualifying coverage. That's down through turn 10. And Matthew Dench, no surprise, top of the board. He is an Australian. Makes sense that he's fast here.
Yeah, his home racetrack. I mean, he's going to be a fantastic driver. I mean, we talked last season, remember, at Brazil, you know, Brazilian drivers get a free half a second whenever they're racing in Interlagos. Matthew Dench is probably, you know, cashing in those extra tenths that he is allowed at his home race. And so far, it's paying off, as Pedro de Oliveira cannot beat him. Second place, not something we're used to seeing. And now we're looking at Pedro de Oliveira as our... Yeah, Porsche. So different car choice for these boys. Obviously, last time out, I'm pretty sure Matthew Dench was in a McLaren as well, wasn't he?
Oh, I don't recall. No, he was in an Audi last week at Hungaroring. So an Audi for him, now into the Mercedes, but then for the full-time esports guys, into Porsches. Very, very interesting. They did Ferraris for 5 races. Then last week at the Hungaroring, went and ran the Audi, not the Audi, the Lambo. Yeah, basically an Audi, let's be honest. And then in the Porsche this week, very, very interesting. Scott Reister, second on the board, in a Mercedes as well. So, wow, this is very, very interesting. I knew we saved the Lambo and the Mercedes for last, thinking the Lambo would be good here, be able to attack some corners, and the Merc would be good at Road America, at least as far as our car spotlights, and it looks like the Merc might be better at Phillip Island, maybe the Lambo better at Road America. Scott Kimbrough goes around, and I do want to highlight Scott Kimbrough right now. He is top 10 again in the points finally, has worked himself back into that position, very deserving, and has had some solid efforts along the way. Headed down to Immature, we talked about Ian Ward a lot last week. He won the race at Hungaroring, now second in qualifying.
Yeah, exactly. Ian Ward has had an interesting season. Obviously, last time out was his maiden win at the Hungaroring. You know, I'm pretty sure he's barely scratching in at the top 10. It might be in 11th place if I'm not mistaken from the top of my head. But I mean, if he can guarantee himself, I mean, he's currently second place in the amateur class. Unfortunately, makes a big mistake. Can he save that car? Oh, did. I mean, they're not going into the gravel trap, but unfortunately, he's going to be towing back to the pit lane. So, I mean, look at the time. He's only, what is that, 5-6 thousandths of a second away from pole. So it's been a good turn of the season for him.
An amateur pole currently being held by this guy, Mike Braun, in that Lambo. Further down in amateur, you're going to find Mike Scott currently in third. He's in the pit lane. And Jackson Resende finally showing up. He's in a Mercedes. Oh, we have split car choice in full-time esports. A Porsche for Pedro de Oliveira, who is third on the board, and a Mercedes for Jackson Resende, who sits seventh.
Jackson will be smiling whenever he sees the top two are Mercedes dominated. Jackson hasn't yet won a race this season. He definitely wants to win one. Came so close to winning last week, but unfortunately couldn't really do it. As we're looking at Brian DeVries, he's finishing up maybe his second lap. Can he improve from his 127.1? He does a 126.9. He's gonna be improving to sixth place.
Another Porsche here for Brian DeVries, and this is the most quiet top 5 I've ever seen out of Ryan DeVries, or out of anybody, in the top 5 in points. Can you believe it? He just sits around that top 10 and just quietly picks up really solid finishes. Brian DeVries, hats off to you, and hopefully you can keep it up, buddy. I noticed him on Instagram earlier today, interacting with some of our social posts. Good to see him doing so, and good to see him continuing some strong runs. 6th in qualifying so far. Right where you would expect him to be, I say, at this point. And Fabio Zamperlini, though, taking a top 10 and in a Ferrari.
Fabio Zamperlini has been one with interesting car choices. can we say this season? I mean, he's not really using the I guess the OP cars that we can kind of mention. That some tracks just had OP cars. He just been challenging himself, and unfortunately, he got one podium so far this season. Not the greatest one. He came from a 12th place last time around in Hungaroring, and currently in 10th place. Unfortunately, not the greatest season for a reigning champion, but I mean, still 2 rounds to go. He can still pull something out of his hat.
Matthew Dent should hold on to pole here. Scott Reister's second. Here's Pablo Ferretti. Looks like he's abandoning his lap. Dominic Angelicchio, then, the next driver out. As far as looking just down the standings, it looks like we have a total of 34 this afternoon at Phillip Island. Here's Dom working through, I want to say this is turn 5? And into turn 6, I think. No, he's somewhere else on the racetrack. Where exactly is he? Oh, he's coming up over Lukey Heights. This will be down to turn 10 now.
Well, Andrew, tonight looks like, oh yeah, this is the big brakies on the right-hander. So we kind of will have to locate it. This is the first time. This is our debut. This is going to be quite a struggle for both of us, but we're definitely going to make that work. Now,
I do want to ask, quick question on this Alpha livery. Does he have the special, I guess, message to Kimi Räikkönen this week? Yeah. Does he have the message on there? I doubt it, but I gotta say, nod to Kimi Räikkönen. What a career he's had in F1, and unfortunately he's going to be, well, retiring after this season, but love to see an Alpha livery on the racetrack.
An Alpha livery of a Ferrari car just looks right. Probably could have had a Kimi message on the one side and the Antonio Giovinazzi message on the other one, just to kind of make things balanced. As we're taking a look at the 176 of Brian Long, just a matter of can he make it to the line before the time? And yeah, he'll definitely have enough time. And where will he place on the BMW? Not a lot of those I've spotted around this circuit so far.
No, but I think he's held tough in that BMW all season long, always having the Sim Racing for Simpletons livery on it. And he's looked good, I think, the entire season as well in that number 176. He's going to come around and complete his lap here momentarily. This is around the final corner. Let's go on board with him. He'll come across the line, keeping it right up against that inside pit wall, and across the line there. 127.605, solid lap time, certainly a whole lot better than I would do, top 20 overall, so not too bad. Kevin Sandiego is on the course still, and this is interesting for Kevin Sandiego. I've never seen him run anything but a red Ferrari, and now he's in a green Tequila Patron Porsche.
Yeah, it's definitely going to take some getting
and
used
has
to,
just
I
taken
guess.
one heck of a
there
crash,
we go. On the pit lane entry. So this is kind of a good point that we can show, Andrew. I mean, the pit lane entry is not as safe as some other tracks around here. I mean, we just looked at one of the possible outcomes that we can have during the race.
The entry is one thing. The exits was really going to get some of these guys, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I had kind of forgotten. Look at the pit exit here at Phillip Island as these drivers get ready to grid up. You might notice it dumps right into turn number 1. Well, if you look closer down towards the start-finish line, there is just a slight deviation in pit road, the yellow stripe in the track map, and hopefully you can see where it goes from having a very, very narrow gap between the yellow and the blue, which are pit road and the racetrack, to a thicker gap right there. You can kind of see where it deviates, and there's actually 2 pit exits here. One of them is not allowed tonight. Drivers have got to use the longer pit exit that is on the left. It takes you further down towards turn number 1 and dumps you into the outside lane. That way you're not going straight into a driver that is barreling down the front stretch at some 170 miles an hour or so. So that is very important for these drivers to recognize tonight. Hopefully they all do so. Hopefully we don't see any crashes that way. That would be rather unfortunate. We do have a grid of some 34 cars. Let's go ahead and meet our entire starting field. Starting on pole is going to be none other than Matthew Dench. It's a home race for him, of course. The Australian in the league, he has got to go to the top of the board this evening and at least start from that pole position. To his left side, you've got Scott Reister, the number 242. Arguably robbed of an opportunity to race last week at Hungaroring, looking for something new this week. A solid qualifying effort going to start the day. Starting in the 3rd position, Pedro de Oliveira S., our potential champion to be, so long as things don't go too awry. In the number 250, Kevin Sandiego will start from his left shoulder. There's Pedro finally loading in. Kevin Sandiego will start from 4th. Starting 5th this evening, Scott Kimbrough. Talk about him moving himself back into the top 10. Solid efforts all season long. In the number 211, the 221, though, will start to his left side. That's Brian DeVries. Starting 7th at Phillip Island, Pierre Thompson. A quiet season as well. All always in a white car, it seems like. This time in the number 218 Lamborghini. We'll have Jackson Resende left side in the number 225. And rounding out your top 10, it's Blake Scott in the number 267, and Fabio Zamperlini, our reigning champion, in the number 1.
In 11th place, we're going to have Mike Braun in the 107 and the 108 of Ian Ward in 12th place, our last week winner. In 13th place, we're going to have the 214 of Jose Lopez, and then in the number 178 of Joshua Benjamin in the 178 in 14th place. 15th place, we're going to have Mark Scott in the 166 and the 226 of Rob Rodriguez in 16th place. 17th place, starting off road number 9, we're going to have the 115 of Sony Brown and the 128 of William Valdez in 18th place. And road number 10, we're going to have the 2 drivers of Diego Area in the 177 and the 176 of Brian Long.
Starting 21st today, it's Kenneth Michael in the number 119 Ferrari. Good to see him here today. Pablo Ferretti, one of our star amateur drivers for SDS Racing, will start from 22nd. Starting 23rd, it's Sean Patterson. This time not in a McLaren, in a Mercedes. William Coffey. Now just Will Coffey. Interesting. Will Coffey will start from 24th position. Starting 25th, it's Matthew Casey, one of the top 10 amateur drivers alongside Armando Bejaran. And starting 27th, it is Dominic Angelicchio next to Jeff Castillo. Starting from the 29th position, Daniel Hall in a Ferrari with Johnny Jones alongside in a Porsche.
In 31st place, Clarence Rosa in the 101, alongside him the 203 of John Sadlek in 32nd place. In 33rd place, we're going to have Bryce Rodriguez in the 299, looking for another comeback race after last week, and the 102 of Billy Bowerman in 34th place. And do we have a 35th? No, we don't.
Some 34 cars in all getting ready to go racing this afternoon from Phillip Island. So glad to have you along with us, and so glad to see Frog Leap Juiced Racing in the chat as well. Glad to have you guys along, the brand new partner and team for Matthew Dench, our pole sitter this evening at Phillip Island. Do want to talk about the weather quickly before we go racing here at Phillip Island. A pretty calm day, all things considered, especially considering right now in Australia it is definitely not 64 degrees Fahrenheit, but it is a nice cool day for these guys. Around 82 degrees track temp and some gusty winds coming off of the ocean. That's going to keep things right around 10 miles an hour and will keep these guys on their toes. Coming around the final corner, turn number 12, with a chance to get this race underway. Matthew Dench in control of the field, coming down to start this one. 50 minutes in Australia begins now. One car already off. That is one of the Scotts. I believe that was Blake Scott, potentially. Everybody continues on. That was Mark Scott in the number 166. Another car around. Oh my goodness, how did he end up there? Johnny Jones across the racetrack will now rejoin. Mark Scott was the first car with problems. We have more issues up ahead. Scott Kimbrough has gone off. Mike Braun avoiding. What a lap one.
What a lap one on these. It's not even over yet, Andrew. It's something, as we remember from Hungary, a lot of things can happen during lap one, but so far so good. The lead remains unchanged. The top 3 remains unchanged, as we do have even more cars. That's going to be in Ward. Dominic Angelicchio I spotted as well. So quite a lot of drivers having issues on lap 1. Ian Ward, after starting in 2nd place on his class, already suffering on the before even lap 1 ends, and looks like the top 2, the 2 Mercedes and then 2 Porsches, a top 4 for the German cars. They are, they're driving away, essentially 2 German Mercedes and 2 German Porsches driving away, as we look even more issues for another Lamborghini. That's gonna be, I cannot really spot who that is, as we do have drivers going side by side.
That was Pierre Thompson in the grass. Lap 1 in the books. Matthew Dench, the race leader, and he has got Scott Reister close behind. This is a great battle to start off the day. Scott with, not the best of races last week at Hungaroring, needs this rebound day at Phillip Island to get back into the championship.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it looks like so far he might have the pace to challenge the Mr. Matthew Dench. I mean, obviously only time will tell as they're both dropping essentially. Pedro de Oliveira looks like the Porsche might not have all that pace during with a fuel full load. So, I mean, if this battle continues between these two, it's going to be absolutely fantastic as we do have even more trouble. That's going to be the 108. Yeah, Ian Ward with even more trouble spinning on lap 1 and also lap 2.
While he gets his ship righted, here we go, back up front. Matthew Dench up over the hill. That was turn 9 down to turn number 10. He knows this course, I'm sure, like the back of his hand, and he is leading a train like he needs to know this course like the back of his hand. This is 4th place. Kevin San Diego right behind our top 3. Best showing we've seen all season for Kevin. And, boy, yeah, these guys are crammed up front.
Yeah, exactly. Those two are absolutely nose to tail, less than 0.4 of a second, 0.3, as you can see the gap just dropping as Scott Reiser is using the slipstream. Pedro de Oliveira cannot really keep it up as Scott Reiser now sets the fastest lap of the race. Well, I just take my words back. Pedro is keeping up and he is the fastest driver on track right now as Matthew is suffering under pressure. As you can see, a beautiful static shot with each and every single car. Pretty much, I mean, we're close to having all manufacturers on the grid, right, Andrew?
Yeah, I think the only car that I haven't seen today is McLaren. I think we had all of it. Oh, maybe not an Audi. Maybe 6 manufacturers of the 8. Oh, you know, 5 because we don't have a Ford in the field. But here we go up front. This is turn number 4 now. Scott Reiser very, very close with a chance to maybe look around at passing Matthew Dench. And further back, there's a battle with Jackson Rosende and Blake Scott. But this is too good to leave.
Yeah, this is way too good to leave. Scott Reiser is looking very, very racy early on. Matthew Dench, I'm not quite sure if this might be strategy, you know, just saving off the tires. This track might be very tire demanding as there we go. The move. Oh, that's an aggressive shutdown from Matthew Dench. He didn't, I mean, already with 5 minutes in, already closing the door like that, this is going to be good towards the end of the race.
Well, that was never really an open door. It's not really a passing opportunity coming up over the hill in turn 9. I think that looked a little more like potentially Scott Reiser got the back end a little out of step. It's hard to kind of explain, but there is definitely a problem with having too much rear brake bias, for example. I don't know how to explain it, but regardless, the rear end gets unsettled. Here we go, one car leaving the pit lane. They do so correctly down the left pit exit.
Yeah, the longer pit exit to avoid any sort of trouble. Obviously, the safer one as a 119 of Kenneth Michael takes, unfortunately, a detour through the grass. I mean, this track is kind of what I expected. You know, this. I mean, Andrew, look at it. It's just grass all around with ups and downs, up and down. This is going to be a tricky one. I mean, is it going to be as tricky as this move down the inside of his car Reiser? He's going to be putting his car alongside, and he's going to be making that move stick and closing the door on the exit for Matthew Dench. There we go, a change for the lead.
Solid pass there by Scott Reiser. Gets the job done in front of the Frog lead car. And now Matthew Dench has to figure out how to battle Scott Reiser. Not something we've seen a whole lot this season. Scott Reiser has been good, but has never really taken the lead. Love that move then from the 242. He's going to work through turn 9 now. And these guys come back up over the hill in Lukey Heights, back down into turn number 10, and things get cramped all over again.
No, the question is, obviously, we kind of do have to highlight, I mean, Andrew, we have been talking to Matthew for the past nearly 2 seasons already. We know that he's a calm-headed guy. We know he can take, you know, a loss right now with 6 minutes of the race to take the win within 10 minutes on the pit lane, you know. And could this be just strategy, you know, just allowing, okay, Scott might be faster at this point. I might just stay behind him, save fuel, pass him on the pit lane, all settle and done.
I highly doubt he's concerned right now. I will say that.
And obviously, I mean, only time will tell, only time will pay off. Obviously, we do have some other aggressive drivers. I mean, Pedro de Oliveira likes to lead the races. Could we see more aggressive moves from the third place right now, trying to make that move for, you know, essentially a provisional victory, victory standing point in first place? Only time will tell. This could be 3 different mentalities on the top 3.
2 Mercs and 2 Porsches continue to lead. Here's the battle for second place in amateur. Joshua Benjamin shuts it down, and Sonny Brown has to take the back step for now, I suppose, and regroup a little bit to try for this battle. That was actually not Sonny Brown. That was a different car. That was a lapped car. Sonny Brown is further back here. That wasn't even a battle for position. Wow. It sure looked like one. That was the 142, it looks like. No, 170. Yeah, 142 of Johnny Jones. So Sonny Brown, Johnny Jones, close enough, but regardless, we do have a top 2 battle then in amateur. Mike Braun, Joshua Benjamin.
Yeah, these two looks like they're going to go at it quite close to one another. Joshua Benjamin obviously looking for a bit of a comeback. Mike Braun trying to hold off into that lead. Are they in 2 different cars?
No, they're both in Lambos.
Oh, both in the Lambos. So, I mean, this is going to be equal machinery for both of them. So this is all going to come down to what in Brazil we like to call the arm. You know, this is just going to be who has, you know, I guess the bravest driver, you know, who can brake the latest, turn in, you know, be the smoothest out, apply the throttle the earliest. This is just going to pay off. And obviously with the long straightaways, this could benefit Joshua Benjamin for the time being, as Mike Braun has to soak in all the pressure from the driver right behind him.
I think turns 1 and 2 maybe are 2 of the most important corners on this racetrack. You've got to make sure to save as much time as you can through turn 1. It's really just a light lift and get back into the throttle. You can even use the brakes a little bit and stay full throttle so the motor stays spooled up and just kind of slow yourself down. Look at this gaggle right in front of these guys, though. Wow, this is Jackson Resende with company from Brian DeVries, and Fabio Zamperlini gets a little behind on the braking, and Scott Kimbrough tailing him up.
Yeah, this is a fantastic battle. Fabio Zamperlini quite nearly got taken out there, so aggressive driving, but so far he remains in 7th place. And I mean, Jackson. Oh no, looks like there's another Scott turned around.
That's Blake Scott, the pro driver of the 267. He's got problems. He'll have to wait on everybody to come back through. But that battle up ahead is looking good. Brian DeVries off the racetrack, and there's some contact.
The Mercedes of Jackson Resende is already damaged, so he's going to be struggling a little bit, maybe down on arrow as they enter the long straightaway, the long start finish straightaway. So
the Gardner straight. Yeah, this is. Oh, yeah, here we go. Scott Kimbrough looks left.
Yeah, look at him. Fabio Zamperlini is going to be going down the inside of his fellow Brazilian. Jackson Resende kind of shuts the door on him, as we do have battles, I mean, for all places. Now Jackson Resende is going to have to defend once again as they enter turn 2. Can he line himself for a good exit? Can Fabio Zamperlini try anything, as the 2 Porsches behind him are already battling? Brian DeVries trying to look for a move. Fabio Zamperlini has to go defensive right now.
What I've learned in these first 9.5, now almost 10 minutes, is this is just a fantastic racetrack. DeVries looks up the inside. Zamperlini kind of shuts the door, holds on to the spot anyway, and Kimbrough's going to have to keep looking as there's a change for position behind. Here we go, side by side in a turn number 5 for these couple of amateur drivers. This is for the lead. Contact! Door banging out of turn 5.
Door bang, that's not going to make them too happy. Luckily for them, they both keep pointing in the right direction, and Mike Braun retains the lead so far. Look at move down the inside. Joshua Benjamin, can he put his car alongside? No, not quite. Kind of the move that we kind of saw from Scott Reiser before with Matthew Dench. Couldn't really make it stick. Mike Braun retains the lead. The lead of the amateur class, that's right.
These guys up ahead, they've sorted things out for now. Jackson Resende starting to walk away. Fabio Zamperlini right behind in the number 1 car. Of course, a reigning champion. Certainly not the season that he would have wanted when the season began, but it's turning out okay. Still some pretty good showings.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, only 1 podium finish so far. The rest, I mean, 3 finishes outside the top 3. Oh!
That almost looked like a little bit of rear chattering to lock up a little bit from Brian DeVries. That was very odd as he set for turn number 2. He looked to the inside and immediately had to backpedal. Thankfully, he stayed out of the back end of the number 1 car. Let's see how they do into turn 4.
And he's going to be going again for the move. The Porsche trying to go late on their braking. Kind of the same move that we saw last time out, the last lap. Not quite close enough to try and oppose a challenge. So Fabio Zamperlini is doing a fantastic job right now to essentially stay within the gap of Jackson Resende, take advantage of the slipstream, but also having to defend from Brian DeVries right behind him. And it looks like Scott Kimbrough might just be biding his time the time being.
Oh dear, Scott Reiser has gone off.
Oh no.
Gets back rolling, the car looks clean, but out of the lead, Scott Reiser just spun.
So out from the lead down into 4th place. We're going to have to take a look at what happened. Probably all on his own. I doubt there has been contact with Matthew Dench. Yeah, he's way too far ahead to probably make contact. Did he clip the grass on any way, shape, or form during the entry or the exit? Looks like he stays on the track for the time being.
Yeah, that's
the back end just
steps
out.
That's very easy to have happen.
Oh, that's going to be so unfortunate. He's going to be kicking himself after that one. So, unfortunately for him, I mean, he was pulling away. But, I mean, the good side is he was pulling away from one of the fastest guys on the grid. So, get back on it.
Some fantastic battles still around the racetrack. This train of 4 cars continues on. This is now to turn number 3. Actually, that's turn 4. Up here is turn 5 for the hairpin, isn't it? I'm getting numbers a little bit confused. But regardless, Honda corner has been exciting all race long, and it's still exciting there as DeVries up the inside takes the spot away from Fabio Zamperlini for now. He's going to hold it. This is turn 6, and the pass is made.
Yeah, the pass is made, pass is complete. Fabio Zamperlini was challenging Jackson Resende, as we do have another car, looks like dropping up. That's going to be the BMW of Brian Long. Unfortunately for him, struggling a little bit on the early phase of this race, but Fabio Zamperlini tried to attack his fellow countryman. Unfortunately, ended up losing a position, as now we're going to take a look at the replay to see what happened to that BMW. Did he just outbrake himself?
There's going to be contact here with Rob Rodriguez. We'll watch. This is through turn 3. Towards turn 4. Oh, boy. Wow.
Oh, he broke on the grass. I'm not pretty sure if you caught that. Just dipped the wheel on the grass, and unfortunately that car was spun. Luckily, that could have ended it a lot worse for both drivers.
I'm surprised it didn't. This will be another look at things. Brian Long in the green BMW. I think we had a similar issue with Johnny Jones off the start, and oh my goodness, just turned right around, and it definitely damages the number 226 of Rob Rodriguez Jr., but not nearly as bad as it could have been. You're right.
Yeah, that was a T-bone, but the complete opposite T-bone that we're kind of expecting as soon as we saw the BMW turning in and losing it.
Oh boy! Jackson Resende has just spun contact with Fabio Zamperlini. They are parked next to each other now, nose to nose. Now Fabio gets going. Jackson, what are you doing? You just drove into somebody.
Oh, we have a car parked.
Oh,
is that
boy.
the exit of 5? That's going to be the exit of 5, correct?
Yes, that is turn 5. Wow.
So car park caused by the 2 Brazilian. That's going to be an interesting one now. Jackson Resende's Mercedes is absolutely full of damage on the front end. That he's definitely going to have to pit and take some repairs on that car. Now I'm interested to take a look at what happened, because Fabio Zamperlini was 2 cars behind Jackson.
Brian DeVries made some contact there. It gets a little more spicy coming up. That was turn 2, I think. And here we go. Jackson off the racetrack in 3. This sets up for DeVries at the inside. Jackson reacts and blocks. Does not cut him any slack. A little bit of door-to-door contact. Down to turn 5. Jackson now goes left. Fabio Zamperlini comes in from neighborhoods, zip codes behind. Turns Kimbrough into Jackson Resende. And wow, I mean, that right there is the most questionable part of all of it. I gotta be honest. A car driving towards cars, they're clearly driving towards you. That's questionable, but I understand. It's frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, coming in from a good position, essentially losing everything, and kind of pinball effect. And I mean, Fabio Zamperlini just lost a little bit of braking performance, and unfortunately, contact with his fellow countrymen. But unfortunately, everybody's going to be losing out on that one. A lot of people with damage, but I mean, could have ended a lot worse for a lot of drivers right there.
It's getting really exciting up front. This is for the lead. 1 car parked in the grass, but down the hill into turn 10. And we've got our 2 leaders nose to tail, a Mercedes and a Porsche. Pedro de Oliveira on the offensive. 6 seconds back to Scott Reister. He can afford to be.
Yeah, he's going to be aggressive. I'm expecting a move down into turn 1. Looks like Matthew Dench does not have the race pace. Yeah, look at it. The Porsche just got such a better exit. Can he look down the inside? I mean, look at this. Look at the run. He's going to be holding it back. Wow, that's going to be interesting. Probably lining himself up for a better move. Probably on turn 5. He spots the car on the exit of the pit lane. It's going to be a lapped Mercedes. That's going to compromise a bit of Matthew Dench's performance. As we look further down here, that's going to be Jackson Resende, because you can tell by the livery and obviously the damaged cars. We do have a car parked on the gravel trap.
I'm not sure who that was, but I mean, there are twists and turns all over the place right now. So much has changed in just the last few moments, the last couple of laps here at Phillip Island. It's hard to keep it all straight. We'll do our best as time goes on. And, boy, these 2 up front, they're starting to get rather spicy.
Yeah, they definitely are. That's, I mean, it's going to become kind of the battle that we kind of got robbed last week, as we do have Fabio Zamperlini, looks like losing it on the exit of 2. That looks like, but I mean, we kind of got robbed last week from Matthew Dench's, I mean, essentially performance. So this could be, you know, something that I mean, I really want to
here
see
we
those
go.
two going head to
Fabio and
tail.
Jackson now nose to tail again. Jackson is that Mercedes. Fabio is the black and yellow Ferrari. Will Coffey's on the outside of these two. Last week's, the amateur points leader right now. Jackson's got to be careful.
Yeah, Jackson has to be really, really careful right now, because he can essentially swing the amateur championship wide open if something happens. If any contact happens between these guys, that championship is going to be wide open.
And that's an advancing, that was John Sedlak, I believe. Yes, that's John Sedlak in a different livery than we're used to seeing in a Mercedes this week. He was looking around Jackson Resende. No luck yet. This is still Jackson, who has not pitted yet. John Sedlak has, for whatever reason. He might have started from the pit lane. He's only in the box for 1.9 seconds. There's a battle up ahead for the amateur lead, though. Joshua Benjamin, Mike Braun back at it.
Joshua Benjamin trying to fight for his first race win in the amateur class. Does get the move done so far. Mike Braun is going to have to yield that position right now. Both of them still winless, so this could be a maiden win from both of them. Right now, it looks like they have Scott Kimber right behind them, so it's going to be, do they battle, or do they just let him go?
They'll definitely battle. This is for their win, especially coming up to the pit window. Remember, back to this 50-minute race format, the pit window opens up right about now. 30 minutes to go to 20 minutes to go is right about where these guys will come in and pit. So if this wasn't already exciting enough for you, if this wasn't already confusing enough, just amazing racing, it's going to get a whole lot better. Pit stops on the way here at Phillip Island. A little further back, we saw things going on with these guys. Pierre Thompson, Rob Rodriguez. Pierre goes around the outside. Rob sits back. Now William Valdez in this. This is the best race we've ever seen out of William Valdez. Up to 13th. Well, 14th now that Fabio went by. Or is trying to.
Oh, this is a good battle. Fabio kind of just squeezes him on the outside. That's going to make sure he gets the position. Unfortunately, the partial driver looks like he's going to have to yield yet another position as they enter the main straight. So, unfortunately for him, losing 2 positions, essentially in 2 corners. Might lose a third. Look at the run that Jackson Resende got.
Time will tell here. Down the front stretch, you can see Rob Rodriguez getting passed up by Fabio Zamperlini into the corner. That's turn number 1. Valdez hangs on to his spot. Jackson a little too far back, and Sonny Brown is coming down the pit lane.
So Sonny Brown opening up the pit window, just as you mentioned, Andrew. So this is going to be the first. Oh, as we do have a Porsche spun around, that's going to be the 226 of Rob Rodriguez. Unfortunately for him, he was quite running a decent race.
We just saw him. He just got passed by Fabio.
Yeah. Unfortunately for him, so that might be on the exit of 2, correct?
This is going to be in turn 2. This will be the pass again. Here comes Fabio Zamperlini up and by. And there's going to be some contact in turn 2 from an advancing Ferrari. It's that white and blue Ferrari. William Coffey just in the distance. Just into turn 2, a little deep. Turns him right around.
Oh, that's gutting. Luckily for him, there's such a big runoff area. He's not going to take a lot of damage to the back end of that Porsche. Obviously, that bumper might not look 100%, but it's going to be better than rear-ending the tire barrier at over 100 miles an hour. As we switch back on live, Jackson Resende is trying to get past. That Mercedes is absolutely damaged. He's trying his best to hold on, essentially till the pit window opens. It is open. I don't know why he's in pitting.
I don't think he needs to yet. We usually see them go to the back end of the pit window. I think they'll do the same here. We're back up to watching our overall race leaders, Matthew Dench and Pedro de Oliveira S. Very used to seeing these guys go all the way to the end of the pit window. I don't know why, other than just to take less fuel, although the fuel amount shouldn't really change a whole lot. I think they're just trying to keep as little fuel in the car as possible for as long as possible. So they decided to go longer here, have a little less fuel in now, so a little better lap times at the end of straights anyways. I think that's just kind of the move.
Exactly. If you're not saving, if you're just pushing 100%, obviously the fuel amount that you're going to put in is not going to matter at all if you just pit in now or within 10 minutes. But as you mentioned, running the car dry and then putting the same amount of fuel and making sure the car is lighter, that's obviously going to have a performance benefit, even if it's just 1 or 2 tenths of a second. So they're absolutely going to go for it. As Pedro de Oliveira once again got a decent run on the final corner on turn 12. Can he make anything out of it? Looks like not quite close enough into turn 1. Will he line up a move into turn 2? He's driving that Porsche to the edge of the grip. They come also close to touching on turn 2. Look at the Porsche. Look at the exit of the Porsche. It's turn 2. We might see a move on turn 3, 4, or maybe even turn 5.
I wouldn't think we'll see a move just yet. Joshua Benjamin in the pit lane. He was our amateur race leader, or at least was battling for the race lead with Mike Braun. This is down to turn 5 for our overall and pro race leaders. Some more drivers in the pit lane. John Sedlak, Jackson Resende in the pits.
So there we go. Jackson Resende fixing up that damage. That's definitely was costing him a few tenths of a second, as we do have, as you mentioned, Joshua Benjamin. Take a look at the time. That's going to be 16.75. So might be a time to aim for. We're going to take a look at another benchmark. That's going to be Jackson Resende. He obviously, the fast repair kind of takes a few tenths of a second, but it should be around the same margin. Let's take a look at how long he stays on his pit box. It's going to be 16.3. So quicker one, slightly.
Kenneth Michael, Rob Rodriguez in the pit lane. You can see both of them here, the Porsche and the Ferrari. We'll see how long Rob Rodriguez Jr. is in the pits. He's getting some damage repaired, I'd imagine. 16 seconds there, 17.33. Not so bad. Back up front, though, our leaders still nose to tail. Pedro is taking all of this draft.
Yeah, he's taking absolutely everything, and now obviously Matthew Dench is going to have to keep an eye out for that lapped car. Will he get out of the way? I'm not quite sure who that is, but I mean, he's definitely going to be looking at the top 2. Nose to tail right behind him. He's going to be looking at his relative box, making sure that they both get away safely, albeit he didn't get a perfect exit out of turn 2. We're taking a look at his bumper can. Sonny Brown kind of gets out of the way, so does it nicely. Looks like kind of hesitant, Pedro de Oliveira, but he gets out of the way nicely, and the top 2 remains unchanged.
Sonny Brown plays nice. Pierre Thompson, though, going to pit. He'll come into his box and get some pit service. There's a pass here as we'll see this right here. Here we go. This is Ian Ward going on by Matthew Casey.
Oh, there we go. Ian Ward getting the move done after bouncing back from essentially 2 not great first laps, getting himself back in rhythm. That's going to help his confidence out. Gets the move done, and on to the next one. One interesting thing, Andrew, the pit stalls. Drivers are coming in not all bunched up at once, as we're kind of used to seeing around here, isn't he? Aren't they? I mean, essentially 1 driver per lap, 1, 2, 3 drivers per lap, not the whole grid on 1 lap as we're kind of used to.
Yeah, a lot more spread out than normal. I think that's absolutely a correct observation so far. 25 minutes to go, we're halfway. Do want to thank our partners here at the North American Racing League, of course, as we always like to do. They put a lot of work into things. There's a lot that goes on here with this league, and certainly a lot then that deserves recognizing. Most importantly, I'd say, well, these 3 guys, they're all most important. Guys, organizations, what have you. Racelab.app. Racelab helps you to improve your driving skills with modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration. You can get the best out of iRacing with Racelab at racelab.app, and it would definitely help you in a battle like we're seeing here on our screen, as Pedro a little tighter to the inside there in 6th than Matthew Dench. I think Matthew Dench just kind of on a Sunday drive right now, as he probably does a little more often than we might think here at Phillip Island. JS Consulting provides custom website and app development, including iRacing League website design and hosting. Find JS Consulting at johnsedlak.com. Tam Liveries offers custom packages for some of the best livery designs in iRacing. My personal favorite has always been Scott Kimbrough's liveries. We'll check that out in a second. Used by pros and amateurs alike, you will definitely look good on track. Again, much like Scott Kimbrough, and how am I going to prove it to you? I'm going to show you his livery. Here we go. Scott Kimbrough in that beautiful Porsche, carried over from the Mercedes and the Audi. Always looks good.
Definitely one stunning car, kind of, I mean, easily recognizable throughout the grid as kind of that red and white cars, they're kind of really as well recognizable easily as we're going to take a look at the replay. I'm interested to see what happened here, Andrew.
Well, I was being told that some drivers had crashed, and here's maybe a look at things. Maybe not. Diego Era now leaving his pit box. I'm genuinely not sure. But we were getting alerts in our timing of scoring that drivers had crashed. I don't think drivers had crashed. I think we're all good. There is a good little battle, though, right here in amateur. Well, an amateur and a pro, actually, because that 218, the white Lamborghini, is Pierre Thompson, who has just passed Joshua Benjamin. They are in separate classes, and now Ian Ward is coming into the pit box.
So Ian Ward ran out, probably one of the last drivers. I mean, we still have plenty of drivers yet to come down in pit lane, but chooses to do so in this lap, as we do have another Lamborghini stopped. Mike Braun decided to come into the pit, so he was battling Joshua Benjamin. It's going to be interesting to see if he underfuels the car to try and get that track position. Ian Ward now looking probably for a 16-17 second stop. He does take he's standing still for 18.3 seconds, so a bit of a longer stop, definitely more fuel, as we do have a Ferrari on the gravel.
Daniel Hall a bit wide out of turn number 2, but no trouble there, as Pedro de Oliveira has finally decided that it is time for him to come in and pit. We'll see if we can get a look at him. There he is in his pit box.
So the undercut for the Brazilian driver, that's going to be interesting. Could it pay off? Probably Matthew Dench is going to be responding within a lap. Let's take a look at the timing. How long does he stay?
There's Kevin
stop?
San Diego as well.
15.5. That's a lot of fuel. Either saved or underfueled.
Well, the Delta previously was 16, so that's a little bit under. That's certainly a little more aggressive at it than other drivers have been, so I don't think that's too bad. Scott Kimbrough is in. Brian DeVries is in. Bryce Rodriguez is in. William Valdez is in. This is the lap. Everybody's going to come in now, it looks like. So the time really, Bryce Rodriguez, that's a lot of fuel. We have not talked about him at all. He was up into 8th before the pit stop. We'll see where he cycles into, as Matthew Dench, I'd imagine, should come in this time.
Yeah, he should probably respond this lap. It might have fuel saved as well. I mean, could explain a bit of that lack of pace, the lack of race pace that we have seen so far today.
Yep.
Does he dive into the pits? Yes, he does. Does he come into the pits safely? Yes, he does. Now just get everything slowed down, and all eyes are going to be going to our bottom right hand part of the screen. We're gonna have to just take a look at it, as the 242's car racer as well joins him on pit lane. Fabio Zamperlini yet to visit pit lane as well, comes right behind.
Turn 9.
Yeah, he's right behind Pedro de Oliveira. Look at it.
Yeah, all of that mix-up that Fabio had gotten himself into with Jackson, that's going to hold him back a little bit. Here is our race leader. Pit timer up for Matthew Dench. He's got to beat Pedro's 15.6. It's a 15.02 for Matthew Dench. That's good.
That's excellent. That's definitely gonna guarantee that he comes on top.
Well, not
kind of
necessarily.
I mean, half a second on pit lane.
But
That's
pit
gonna
entry
be
and exit,
huge.
that can definitely affect things as well. Scott Reiser, 17 seconds.
Yeah, as well. Look at the gap between the top two. Nearly 2 point. Well, now it drops all the way down to 1 point something seconds. So, yeah, the half a second, that pit entry as well, pit exit could definitely save him up a lot of time. And I mean, it showed the gap is definitely increased.
Jackson Resende, it looks like, back in the pit lane. I don't think that's intended. He is 2 laps down now. Big problems for Jackson Resende. Look at that pit timer. He had to tow.
Oh, that car might be done for the night. That looks like suspension damage, maybe a lot of damage done to that car. We're just gonna have to take a look at the replay. So a bad night turned even worse for Jackson Resende, unfortunately for him. He's going down the inside of a Lamborghini. That's gonna be turn 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Pierre Thompson.
Yeah, that's gonna be Pierre Thompson. So the action spot, does he lose it all by himself? That's gonna be the second Mercedes that does that. No, looks like he's all stable. Oh yes, he does. Just clips the grass on the exit, and oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
We're so thankful this is virtual, because that would have been a very, very nasty crash.
We'll get one more look at this. I mean, this is pretty much season ending for Jackson Resende. This is going to be very, very difficult to return from. I say season ending like he's going to be out next week. He'll just, lose touch with the championship. He's not going to have an opportunity now to go after his teammate Pedro Alvarez. He was just never really on the same level tonight. You see his flip there. Never at all on the same level as his teammate Pedro de Oliveira. Got caught up in a lot of mishaps along the way and just never really had it the same way that Pedro did tonight. It's really been an off season for him as well. So our two most excellent drivers of last season have really both trended the wrong way. I guess 2 of the 3, because Matthew Dench was there, battled with him the whole way, and he's still on top. He's still been winning races, won 2 of them, and is leading again here at Australia. I wouldn't put it past him to win this one, certainly. I mean, this is his home race. This is the one race that he should win.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we look at the championship, Matthew Dench won 2, and I mean, bad luck has plagued him once again. Last season out, he lost the championship due to disconnection, and this season has been no different. Watkins Glen, he was well within, I'm pretty sure, the top 5, if not top 3, got disconnected. Silverstone, unfortunately, DNF'd as well, but I mean, Jackson Resende is in 4th place, but only his best finishing position so far in the season has been 2nd. Hasn't yet touched that top step.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, bad luck. Is that commentator's curse right there?
That was Kenneth Michael getting a little bit squirrely. Oh boy, could you imagine? Could you imagine if that had been it for Matthew Dench in his home race in Australia? Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure if he watched the broadcast and heard me talking about bad luck for him and that happened, I'm pretty sure he would be catching a flight to Brazil in the afternoon. He was gonna be coming here to talk to me. It'd be a different kind of
Secret Santa, huh?
Yeah, exactly. That's gonna be not so great for me, but luckily for him, everything stays put with 18 minutes to go, a healthy gap down to P2. Looks like he's putting the pedal to the metal right now.
On the contrary, he's lost some time to Pedro. He's got 16 minutes to kind of play with this lead a little bit. 1.5 seconds thereabouts. Now maybe one and a third. I think if you're Matthew Dench, let Pedro use his stuff up. Let Pedro charge back up to you. Save everything you've got.
It could be a risky strategy because obviously if Pedro catches up, that's going to carry out the momentum, as well as we do have another 2-car battle within turn 1, as we do have a Ferrari and a Mercedes, 2 different cars, 2 very, very different cars battling. I'm not quite 100% sure who this is, but I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if the Ferrari can have anything. We do know that the Ferrari is very, very strong when we talk about top speed. The Mercedes just seems to be a better, well-run car for this circuit, though.
William Coffey just got passed up by John Sedlak. That's what this is that we're watching, 11th and 12th now. You see the rest of the top 20 made up by yellow. I like that. Very consistently amateur drivers in this top 20 now between 10th and 20th. The one outlier is Mike Braun, who is in the top 10, 9th currently overall.
I was just going to mention it. Wasn't Joshua Benjamin leading the amateur class?
Yeah, well, I did just get a notification that he had crashed. I don't see damage as if he had just crashed, but might have just been going slow. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, I was just noticing he was leading before and after the pit cycle, actually, but unfortunately dropped out of contention, looks like. Unfortunately, that's going to be the win slipping out of his hand.
Here.
Oh, yeah, that's on a main straight.
So let's go back and look at it. He is going to have a bit of a spin. This is out of the final corner. It looks like it's going to be all on his own, out of the corner, and this is tough. You're wanting to push as hard as you can, just get into that little bit of grass.
No.
That's another one of those very easy to do kind of spins. Backs into the wall a little bit of right front damage somehow out of all that, and looks at all of his amateur competition going right on by. He was no longer quite in contention for the lead. He was 16th, so that would put him behind Matthew Casey. No, in front of Matthew Casey, behind Sonny Brown, but now he's going to have to come in and pit, it looks like.
Unfortunately for him, that's going to be carrying out too much damage. I was going to mention, luckily he's not in the new Mercedes W12, because if that was, the rear hit, his gearbox would have been gone. Oh, it looks like he just comes in for a quick, fast repair and, well, quickly hops back on the racetrack.
Yeah. So he'll get back at it. That is, Joshua Benjamin was challenging for a race win earlier today. He opened the season last season with a win, I do believe, and just looked so good at the start of Season 1 here in the North American Racing League, and since has always just looked a little bit down. He is teammates with William Coffey, somebody who's gone on to, well, lead this championship now. And even after tonight, I think William Coffey should lead the amateur class after it's all said and done. I just don't know how he beat William Coffey in these next 2 weeks. He's always so quietly consistent, much like Brian DeVries, much like Scott Kimbrough. You can always count on him being around.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention. I'm just gonna say out loud his results: second, sixth, second, fifth, third, second. Right now, he's looking to yet another second place. That's how you win a championship without winning any races. I mean, he's in second place right now. Mike Brown again. I'm pretty sure Mike Brown. Yeah, he hasn't won a race yet. But I mean, William Coffey 10 points ahead of Diego Arie, who has won a race. I mean, he's just there. He's just consistently there, not making a lot of mistakes, not putting himself in a position to make mistakes. And that's the result. You get a 10-point gap, and I mean, it's just going to extend this time out.
And just kind of being there isn't ever bad. I think that's certainly a good thing sometimes in these kinds of series where you just need to be consistent. You just need to put an 8-race season together. You don't have to go and win every single race unless you're chasing Pedro de Oliveira. Maybe then you do. But otherwise, I think certainly in this amateur category especially, you could just kind of be there. You don't necessarily have to be anything super special, super, I guess, newsline writing, if you will, storyline writing. Like, you just have to be there, be consistent, be here at a race. That's what William Coffey has done all season long, and he's going to do that, I think, to a championship unless something happens in these final 12 minutes at Phillip Island or in the 60 minutes next week at Road America.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you take a look at the competition as well, I mean, Brian Long, third place right now. He has 2 wins, but unfortunately for him, those 2 wins came, I mean, he won at Watkins Glen, but then at Spa-Francorchamps finished 11th. Then he won at Valhalla, but 19th place at Silverstone and 10th place in the Hungarian, you know. Those things out and ended, I mean, it just ends up costing you points sometimes. So sometimes obviously being just way too aggressive, sometimes obviously bad luck plagues each and every single racing driver. But, I mean, as we mentioned, being there, it's just good enough.
11 and a half minutes to go now. Matthew Dench still leading the way. A 2.5 gap to Pedro de Oliveira S. Scott Reister has dropped down the order a little bit after his spin. I think certainly dejection setting in for this driver. Fall back to 12 seconds behind our race leaders. He did, I believe, yeah, he had a bit of a longer stop as well, so that's going to account for a couple of his seconds, but still not so great of a day. Even though he led opening, or earlier on in this race anyway, it's just not been what he needs, and Diego Arie has just crashed.
Oh, that's gonna shake up a bit of the championship as well. There we go. We do have an Audi as well. That's gonna be another good point. But unfortunately for Diego Arie, for 10 points behind, he's gonna be dropping a lot more positions right now. And
exactly what William Coffey needed.
Yeah, exactly. William Coffey. I'm pretty sure the grin might just be popping out under the virtual helmet as we're going to take a look. Did the Audi just snap on him? That's going to be the question. Or did he touch the grass? The Audi looks planted. Oh, is that a cascade effect or somehow? Does he touch the grass? Yes, he does. Oh.
Goes for a bit of a spin. Backs it up a little bit into that trench. I'm glad he got it back going. He easily could have high-centered there.
Oh, yeah, I'm intrigued actually. Could have he gotten the car stuck with the wheels on the air right now?
Absolutely. I think he easily could have high-centered if he had gone just a little bit further back and had not gotten the car rolling quite as quickly. He'll continue on, keeping that damage, keeping those battle scars on the machine. Goes right on by pit entries. He's trying to get everything he can back. He's now 21st. Overall, that puts him about 11th in amateur competition, right behind Daniel Hall. Well, I say right behind, but Daniel's a little ways up the road.
Yeah, Daniel doing a decent race so far. I mean, kind of the season, I guess I can tell for him. Matthew Casey, as you can see, just trying to chase down, looks like Sonny Brown ahead of him. Trying to get a good enough exit. I mean, they're on the same car. Oh, Sonny Brown, I do apologize. And I mean, on the same machinery as we've seen once again. So just going to be a question of going deeper on the braking, getting faster on the throttle. And look at it. Look at the run that he got. Could we see a move down the inside? No. Oh, not Eco Machinery. I do apologize. I thought it was a Ferrari on the inside. It's actually pretty different.
Yeah, that Porsche, very different. Handles very differently, but it's working for these guys that are running Porsches today. I think the best race for Porsche all season long. Certainly. I thought maybe last week at Hungaroring might have been a good race for Porsche. No, it's been here at Phillip Island.
Yeah, exactly. They've been running second place so far. It looks like the second fastest car just behind the Mercedes, but it looks like the best stable car, I'd say. The Mercedes, we've seen some snap, especially from Scott Reister. So, I mean, looks like the best overall car, not the fastest, but the safest.
So So William Coffey right now is, well, here as... I thought for a moment. We got a notification again for Diego Era, but thankfully he has not crashed. Ian Ward, though, has just been passed up by 2 cars. He has gone off track a little bit. He gets back regrouped out of turn number 2. I think just an off-track loss, a couple of spots to Matthew Casey and Sonny Brown. They both went by, and now they're battling again into turn 5. They've just swapped spots. Casey by, and here Sonny Brown has pushed him off track.
Oh, just ended up trying to switch, I guess, sides of the overtake on the last minute. Couldn't really get the car to turn in. Not enough grip in that Porsche. And both the Porsche and the Ferrari is going to be carrying a bit of damage. As you can see, the damage to the front left of that Ferrari. He's going to be a bit under pressure from Diego Ari. Ian Ward, sorry. Right behind him. Does the Lamborghini go for a move down the inside? Not quite, does he? I mean, trying to spot for a gap. Couldn't really go for it, but I'm going to be interested to see a replay of what happened between those two.
I think it was pretty cut and dry. We're in the final few minutes, and anything could happen here. Sonny Brown a little bit too far inside, kicked up some dust. Now on the inside of Ian Ward. Ian Ward going to have to try and regroup, maybe get a run at the straightaway. I think he could have something here down the Gardner Straight. Sets back, gets a bit of a gap. Ian Ward going to try up the inside. Sonny Brown can't cover it, and that should be a spot.
That's going to be interesting. The Ferrari has the inside lane. He has damage. The Lamborghini has a higher top speed. Who's going to be the bravest down into turn 1? They're going to go side by side. The Lamborghini kind of has to yield. He's trying to line up a move into turn 2. Couldn't really get it. Can he get a good enough exit? The Lamborghini, extremely close to the Ferrari. He's going to get a better exit. They nearly touch. Oh my god, I can sense a move coming. Is he going to go down the inside or outside? Ian Ward trying to look for a gap. He's going to be trying to outbrake the Ferrari. He does go down the inside. They nearly make contact, Andrew.
So close. Side by side now. They'll go to turn 6. It's Ian Ward outside. Sonny Brown inside. They might swap up here. Ian Ward sits back. Crossover incoming. No. Going to take the speed on the outside now as Sonny Brown try to protect. Side by side they'll go. They're going to run quickly through turn 8. Then turn 9, the first place where they'll have to check up. The pass has just been made. Ian Ward goes on by. Can Sonny Brown do anything about it? Maybe. This will be down to turn 10. And no, he's kind of already messed up his own corner. And that finally sorts out. But we've got to quickly go up front where things are getting spicy for our lead. Matthew Dench, and actually these guys are right behind the cars we were just watching. Matthew Dench is still leading this race, but a much closer margin.
Yeah, it looks like the gap has dropped substantially. Right now the Mercedes might be struggling on the final 5-6 minutes of the race. What a battle we just had, and what a battle we might have within a few minutes, as it looks like the Porsche of Pedro de Oliveira is going to be pushing to the absolute limit. It's going to be qualifying lap for both of these guys. The question is, where do you make the move whenever you're driving so close to the edge?
One of the hairpins. I think that's what we've seen. If you can do it somehow in turns 9 and 10, I think that's your best opportunity to do so. That's where you're going to eliminate any chance of the driver you're passing coming back at you. But I think certainly turn 5 is another great option, the Honda corner. I think that's got to come in one of those 2 hairpins. Turn 1 might be serviceable just because of the run you get, but going to be tough to actually pass in that corner. They'll work by a lapped car here in turn 5, Honda corner. Again, one of your best opportunities, I think, to make a pass here to win the race. Pedro de Oliveira gets held up just a little bit, trying to get by the 105. That's one of the Wahuka cars. That is, I believe... contact! No. It's so tough as a lapped car to get out of the way. Finally, there we go. A break for Pedro.
Oh, Pedro's definitely going to be fuming after that one. Unfortunately for him,
that's over a half second that he lost.
Oh, there we go. He kind of got held by the lapped car on the hairpin because it kind of slowed Matthew Dench down. But unfortunately, was that just miscommunication? The lapped car kind of raced him on the exit. I'm not quite sure what happened now.
The job it's just so tough in that corner, especially the way Pedro kind of approached the corner. He was going to always come out right behind Armando, and that's just, unfortunately, that is just kind of multi-class racing. Not multi-class cars, but multi-class drivers. That's what you get.
Yeah, exactly. And now a job that was kind of nearly impossible becomes a whole lot more difficult.
Love just watching these guys on board, but Pedro de Oliveira a bit wide in 1. Compromises his entry for 2. Still a decent corner, makes up some ground. The Porsche is certainly a little better than the Mercedes.
With 2 minutes, looks like the car is absolutely planted as Matthew Dench gets past the lapped car. Will the left car help Pedro de Oliveira? Yes, he does. Gets out of the way nicely. Pedro trying everything that he can. I mean, pretty much just throwing the car into the corners, pretty much doing an all or nothing with 3 minutes to go. That's going to be what, Andrew? 2-3 laps to go?
Yeah, in fact, we're on lap 32. We're expecting 35. I don't think we're going to get 35. I think we might get 2 more here out of this race. They're running just under 1.5 minutes, and we're going to have about a little under 3 minutes. We should get 2 to go this next time by the flag stand. We'll see how it all sorts out. Brian DeVries and Scott Kimbrough, though, they are in a fantastic battle. They go by one of the lap cars that might have been Armando Bejaran. Not totally certain. No, that wasn't. That was Sean Patterson that just passed. But these two drivers have recently swapped positions. Kimbrough giving way to DeVries. DeVries was earlier on, I think, in this top 5, has now moved back into the top 5. And we talk about a driver being quiet, pointing their way into some pretty good situations. Brian DeVries is the king of it. Might not be going for a championship necessarily, but he very well could be 4th after this race.
I mean, this is going to be his first top 5 if he manages to finish. His best result so far was a 6th place, which well, actually 6th place around Belle Isle. So
oh no!
Kind of look. Oh, Pedro de Oliveira? Yes, it is. Oh, can he keep this car in 2nd place before Scott Reiser passes him? That's going to be a mistake. I'm pretty sure all on his own due to your oh no.
We'll see. Pedro de Oliveira S. This will be down to turn number 1. Let's ride on board. No cars really around him. This has got to be a mistake, just pushing to try and get back up to Matthew Dench. Into turn 2. A little bit shallow. Comes over the hill. Much like I had with the Lambo. Just washes out wide. Catches the grass. Goes for a spin.
Yeah, those tires are not going to be providing the same grip. Luckily for him, no damage, and on the final few laps, that's going to be the bid for the win. Nearly over. Obviously, it's not over until the checker flag drops, but, I mean, on pace, that's going to be it. He retains 2nd place, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he does. So,
yeah, he's good.
Yeah, by 5. Yeah, those two absolutely on a class of their own. Obviously helped by the mistake that Scott Reiser had.
Should get white flag here. They work
that
on
was
by
almost
Sonny Brown. This should be white flag for Matthew Dench.
This could be the white flag. Nearly a hairy moment with the lap Ferrari. And now he just has to sail it home, essentially.
So we do believe this is the white flag presented by Tucson Sound Art for Matthew Dench, working around turn number 2. He's got 10 seconds now to his nearest competitor. It's not been quite that dominating of a day, but he's always just kept his car clean, kept himself nice and quiet and cool, calm, collected, much like you were talking about towards the top of the show. Always just done what he's needed to do in this race, and he should come around in a few more moments and collect the win. That battle for the back that we were talking about, Scott Kimbrough and Brian DeVries, they worked out of turn 1.
Looks like this is going to be another battle to keep an eye out for in the last lap. This is going to be us looking at both the winner and this battle, because this is far, far from over. 2 Porsches going head-to-head. Oh, just a small mistake on the exit of 2. Looks like that's going to be compromising his exit just a tiny little bit. But, I mean, can we see a late dive on the final lap?
I don't think it's going to happen here in 5. DeVries at the inside of a lap car. It's certainly not going to happen there. They work by the 101. I believe that's Clarence Rosa. He plays nice. And yes, this is the white flag presented by Tucson Sound Art. Already the final 2 corners for Matthew Dench. And out of turn number 12 on his own home turf, Matthew Dench wins a 3rd race of Season 2 of the North American Racing League.
Finally, things came, I mean, on his way. Finally, things happened right for him. His first win since Belle Isle. That's going to be a fantastic result. Pedro de Oliveira is going to be finishing up in 2nd place. Scott Reiser on 3rd. Kevin San Diego might finish on 4th. As we're still looking at battle for 5th. It's kind of an unknown who's going to be finishing 5th, but it looks like it's going to be Brian DeVries as they enter the final corner. Exit right now. Both Porsches keep on pointing in the right direction. That's going to be the first top 5 finish for Brian DeVries.
And here we go for the amateur win. He's got 10 seconds to William Coffey. Mike Braun, out of the final couple of corners at Phillip Island, is going to be a race winner. He told us today on Facebook he was opting into our car spotlighted Lamborghini. He does it in a Lamborghini at Phillip Island. It works out. Mike Braun to victory lane in the amateur class.
what a drive for him. But obviously in second place of that class, that's going to be our leader, William Coffey, going to be definitely extending that championship lead. He's going to be happy about that result. And I mean, that's going to be, just like Pedro de Oliveira, might be one hand of the trophy.
I think certainly he is going towards a championship. It's not said and done yet, but with Diego Eda's troubles and Diego dropping to 20th place in this race, it's going to help William Coffey out quite a good bit. Pedro de Oliveira S, I think certainly is looking at championship form after this evening again. I think that's his first mistake we've seen him make all season long, isn't it? That the first self-spin from Pedro that I've seen anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I don't recall. I mean, if you look at, his result, it doesn't really show a mistake, so this is going to be the first one. And I mean, won't definitely make a difference on the championship, but I mean, Matthew got to him.
I think certainly got in his head just a little bit. Got him out a little bit. I don't know what else you can say about it, but Pedro de Oliveira certainly is human. We've seen that tonight. It's good to see that, I think, for a driver, especially going into a championship battle, a championship crowning race. I think it's good as a driver to be humbled just that little bit. So I think that's good, all things considered, for his championship season for Pedro de Oliveira. We will take a step aside here from Phillip Island. We thank you so much for watching the entirety of the show to this point. Plus just a little longer, because we've got some great post-race content on the way, some great post-race conversations with our race winners and runner-ups here from Phillip Island. Don't go anywhere. More to come here on Pit Stop TV.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Welcome back to the virtual Phillip Island circuit. In screen is your second place and potentially will still be your points leader in amateur, but potentially champion next week. But we've got a few others to pop in screen here before things are done. What a race at Phillip Island. I was brand new to this circuit. There were two tracks on this schedule, JP, that we noted were brand new to the channel. Last week at Hungaroring and this week at Phillip Island, they have both beyond excited and earned their place on schedules for years and years to come. Fantastic racetracks.
Absolutely. I absolutely loved it. And we talked about the pre-race show. I mean, we knew this race was going to be fantastic. It was even better. And I mean, we just kind of have to have it on the schedule for now on. So, I mean, the league admins, I'm pretty sure they're watching it. Make it happen.
Well, it looks like we're going to be a little slow to the punch here, getting all of our drivers in for interviews. First up is actually going to be amateur race winner Mike Braun. We will go ahead and start with Mike. He was the first one to the broadcast waiting room, so he's the first one to an interview. Also, first across the line in amateur. I gotta be honest, Mike. I saw your comment earlier today saying you'd be in a Lamborghini. That already had me excited, but nothing had me prepared for a race win for you. Congratulations.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what to say.
A bit like Ricky Bobby there, don't know what to do with your hands?
Right? No, that's the way I was. I got across the line, I'm sitting here by myself, and I just had to give a good old fist bump when I went by.
Well, you certainly earned it and a whole lot more. A race win here. Now, I know the season's coming to a close. The championship is getting close to being decided, but you're putting yourself kind of back in that conversation for a lot of points battles. And I think at Road America, we've got to now watch out a whole lot more for this 107.
Yeah, I hope so. We're coming into some tracks that I'm familiar with, except for this one. I up until last Thursday night, I had never driven on this track. And I probably put in 150 to 200 laps in this last week just trying to get there, and it came around.
And we can see here on our screen on the broadcast that you come into this race 44 points out of the lead. You make a small dent into that trying to chase William Coffey. But the biggest part of all of this is you're going to move up ahead of some guys like likely Dominic Angelicio and potentially even Pablo Ferretti. You're going to get right back into that top 5 area. What do you do at Road America to take it that next extra step and get into the top 5 in points?
Just keep this momentum going. It felt great. The whole race felt good. I had a great start. I ran with Benjamin at the beginning, and him and I had a great battle for a while. And then he came in for pit, and I just stayed out on my own. I got off track once and was able to pull it back in and get back out in front and never look back.
Now, we haven't talked to Mike Braun just yet, at least not that I can recall, and I apologize if we have and I don't recall it, but I don't think we've talked to you yet. Tell us about Mike Braun, and I noticed a hashtag WellRC on the side of the car. Tell us about that as well.
Well, I got to talk to JP a couple weeks ago when I finished second at Belle Isle, but the WellRC is actually a good friend of mine from RC Car Racing that designs RC car parts. That's kind of the fun thing about the Empire guys is 95% of us are RC car racers. And I actually announce radio control car races on the side. So I appreciate what you guys do and announcing the races and things going on. And I actually take some of the things that you guys say and take it to what I do. So I appreciate whatever you and JP do. You guys do an amazing job.
Certainly appreciate it. Wow, kind of small world here. We get another announcer in the cars racing here with us in the North American Racing League. That's really cool. Love talking to you here, Mike. I wish we could go on forever. We do have some other drivers, so we'll kind of shuffle you along here. But before we let you go, a chance to shout out anybody you want to.
Oh man, I definitely have to thank my wife for putting up with me sitting up here late nights and just getting a running. All the Empire guys for the support and the help that they give me. Tam livery, I mean, that makes that car look better than I could ever drive it. And then I want to also thank Daniel Morad, even though he was highly caffeinated and on about 50% sleep. He helped me out yesterday so much, so that definitely helped out today.
Definitely seems to have paid off. Hopefully it does for Road America as well, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Andrew.
Mike Braun getting the amateur race win. We'll move things down to the amateur P2 driver real quick with JP Costa.
So, William, I mean, once again, another second place finish. That's going to be your 4th second place finish. I mean, consistency seems to be your middle name, essentially. But, I mean, when we talk about this race, I mean, we saw plenty of mistakes from other guys. I mean, we even saw the championship leader from the pro class struggling a little bit on the final part of the race. How challenging was this racetrack?
It was pretty darn challenging, honestly. I went with the strategy of trying to save the tires for the first half of the race, and then I could push a little harder towards the end. I was watching the chaos with it's really just kind of like lap by lap. I didn't really have a strategy after that because of the weird things where the back markers are for some reason fighting us, or guys are just arbitrarily rolling out on the track. So the track was really tough, man. Like you'd swear it was hotter than it says it is because we were really starting to slide around. And then in the last 20 minutes or so, I was pushing on Sedlak, and I could see that his tires were going. And I saved for that moment, and he just ended up going around, and so I just kind of capitalized.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you absolutely have to at those points, and I mean, your strategy really worked. I mean, second place, that's going to be a perfect result. You still yet to touch that top step of the podium. I mean, do you think it can happen on the finale next week?
I don't know. I'm gonna get some time with Morad to get some training in, and then we'll kind of see where it goes from there. There's usually like one guy that's like super fast on the track, and if I can just tuck in behind them, then I'm fine with second. Honestly, looking at the top of Mount Olympus, but That's okay. I'll try my best. I'll do a solid. I really do love Road America coming up, so that'll be fun just to go on a track that I personally like a lot. So we'll see how it goes.
I mean, you're not looking from the top of Mount Olympus. You're definitely looking at the top of the standings. I mean, you're well clear right now. You might be within a great shot at the championship. How do you approach next race? Diego Aria had a mistake on this race. Definitely going to be costing him a lot of points. You finished second, going to be getting a whole lot of points. Do you treat it as any other race, or do you, kind of get excited, because the season is finishing and you're well clear of second place?
Diego had a mistake, sure, but I also had one out there too. So we'll see where the points go. We'll see what the stewards ultimately say. It was kind of we kind of ended up getting into each other a little bit, and so we'll see. I think it was a race incident, but in general, I try to race as clean as possible, and we'll see. We'll see. Once I see where the points land, then I'll decide how aggressive I'm going to be at that point. If I end up being a pretty good points gap, I still haven't really even used my drop. So I think I'll have kind of a free race to kind of go out there and be aggressive. I'm not going to, ruin anybody. I'm just go out there and do my best, but we'll see where it goes. I don't want to jinx it just yet because I could get smacked down pretty hard probably. So we'll
Yeah, I have a pretty bad, curse of the commentator's curse, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let you go and prepare for next week. Who do you have to thank for tonight?
Oh, gosh. Everybody that does the sponsorship to this, man, they do such an awesome job. You guys, thank you so much. I just love watching these after. My family loves it. Morad, he basically has helped me out quite a few times, and basically I took his training to heart, and so hopefully we'll get some more of that training. Basically just all the guys that just basically bring it every single week. I absolutely love it. They've upped my game. So thank you to everybody.
Well, thank you, and obviously hope we can talk to you next week, maybe on the podium, maybe as a champion.
Thank you. I hope so, but we'll see how it goes. I don't want to jinx myself.
Well, Andrew, that was Will, the Consistency Coffee, our second place finisher. Points leader, and sounds pretty happy. Sounds pretty excited for next week, and he should be.
Absolutely, he should be. Oh, I just moved him as he was finishing comment. Well, when you go back and watch this, I apologize. But anyways, long shot. I think long shot no more. He is a sure shot for this final race at Road America next week. I think certainly has to be in your conversation for an amateur race win, potentially an overall top 10 as well. We got another driver here in the wings waiting to speak with us. It is our pro race winner. A home race win for Matthew Dench. Matt, it seems like we're always talking to you, this time in a much, much better light. Race win here at Phillip Island.
It was a very, very good race. Pretty confident coming into this one. Had a race a couple of days ago on this track in the Porsche Cup, so I was pretty familiar with it. Mercedes is always quick here, BMW as well. And the Porsche's quite nice as well. So.
Like you say, you got some Porsche Cup practice here, a race obviously. How does that translate to GT3 cars? I know they're similar, obviously not the same, different assists and et cetera, different regulations, but how does that help you just get in the rhythm potentially ahead of this race with GT3 cars?
Yeah, so the line you take between the two cars is exactly the same, just your braking markers and throttle input just a little bit different. But yes, it doesn't take too much to get back up to speed.
Now, I'd imagine outside for you, it looks a lot more like it does in the sim right now, whereas here for us in the United States, and even, I'd say, JP down in Brazil, it is pitch black. Is that about right?
For me, no, it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah. So, yeah, it looks a lot more like it does in sim. It's nice and bright outside and everything. As an Australian, I gotta ask, how much personally does this race mean to you to win?
Yeah, it's definitely really good. Doing well on Aussie tracks for sure.
Now with Frog Leap Juiced Racing, that's kind of a big change coming here towards the end of the season. What does that mean for Matthew Dench down the road?
So I picked up this sponsored team a couple weeks ago through a ad on Facebook. They do a lot of GT stuff, a lot of V8 supercars. Yeah, it's pretty good so far.
Well, Matthew Dench certainly always a man of few words, but a lot on the racetrack. Another race win. Going to be a long shot for the championship. I think a whole lot of things need to happen, might even be eliminated, but I think this season has to be considered a massive success. How do you build on this for 2022? We've got another season on the way after a couple of more months.
Yeah, so after this season, I'm coming back for season 3 of GT3, and also doing the Porsche Cup series that they're going to open up as well. And I think for next round, in terms of the championship, just try and stick it on pole and get another race win, and see where I sort of end up.
Well, buddy, best of luck to you next week at Road America. Can't wait to see how this number 283 does.
Yeah, thank you. I'll see you all then.
Another solid race win for Matthew Dench. Really a solid season. And it looks like at this point, Pedro and Matthew are going to split the wins down the middle, or at least be the only two to get race wins here. Really, really solid stuff tonight from the number 283. And we're going to hand things down to the other guy who's been oh so solid all season long, Pedro de Oliveira.
Então, Pedro, falando contigo novamente, infelizmente, ao contrário das últimas 4 vezes que eu falei contigo, vai ser do segundo lugar. Conta aí como é que foi a corrida no seu ponto de vista.
Boa noite, João. Boa noite, todo mundo. Bom, foi uma corrida muito desafiadora. A pista é muito difícil, é uma pista bem complexa assim, para os GT3. Mas... assim, do ponto de vista do campeonato foi excelente, eu não tenho absolutamente nada do que reclamar. Mas foi uma corrida bem complicada. Eu achei que eu ia estar fora do pace, porque eu não consegui treinar muito essa semana. Ontem ainda eu fiquei sem internet em casa, manutenção na rede, enfim, não consegui treinar, não consegui nem testar o melhor carro. Pra você ter noção, eu tava andando e acabou a internet, eu já tava com o simulador aberto numa sessão offline, então eu consegui ficar na sessão offline ali. Eu deixei o computador ligado a noite inteira para pelo menos conseguir treinar hoje durante o dia em alguns momentos, mas eu não consegui. Então eu treinei bem menos do que as outras etapas, e ainda assim eu consegui estar num ritmo bem legal. Tive bastante sorte ali no começo da corrida, com o Scott rodando, né? O Scott saindo da briga, o que me deixou um pouco mais tranquilo. Falou, bom, agora é tentar manter o P2 e tentar brigar pela vitória. E eu tentei economizar combustível, mas o Porsche ele gasta mais do que a Mercedes. Eu descobri nas primeiras voltas com o Jackson. E aí eu tentei salvar o máximo possível para não criar um gap muito longo para o Matthew. Mesmo ele acelerando tudo, eu precisaria economizar um pouco para sair na mesma condição de combustível. E ele saiu 2 segundos na minha frente. Então eu tentei acelerar, consegui chegar, mas um retardatário acabou me atrapalhando bastante ali. Aí eu perdi o contato e aí já foi muito difícil de ter o ritmo para chegar nele de novo. Então até errei, né? Acabei saindo da pista ali. Ainda bem que o Scott estava mais para trás também, o que me fez ficar com P2. O campeonato, como eu disse, é maravilhoso, mas eu queria um pouquinho mais.
Isso sem dúvida, né? Todo mundo quer aquele P1. Infelizmente para você, não chegou dessa vez, foi bem perto. E obviamente tu falou, né? Pro campeonato é excelente, né? Tu termina à frente de todos os seus rivais, exceto o Matthew Dench. Mas é a mesma pergunta que eu fiz pro Ian Coffey, né? Ele também tá bem perto de pegar esse campeonato. Semana que vem, última corrida em Road America. Tu tá com uma mão no título, né? Tu tem um gap excelente pro P2, só vai aumentar para todo mundo. Tu já tá pegando com as duas mãos esse troféu?
Eu, assim como eu falei algumas vezes nas entrevistas, é uma corrida de cada vez, né? Eu sei que a vantagem é considerável, o sistema de pontuação é bem próximo, então tirar toda a vantagem que eu construí ao longo do campeonato é difícil, mas a gente nunca sabe, né? Acontece alguma coisa, eu não consigo correr, enfim, algo do gênero acontece. Por isso que eu gosto de, um acidente na largada, enfim, algo acontece ali que a gente está sujeito a isso. Então eu gosto sempre de um passo de cada vez, cabeça no lugar, foco. Mas com certeza é muito bom, né? Ter a tranquilidade de saber que eu preciso marcar meus adversários e fazer uma corrida segura. Mas com certeza a gente vai estar lá para brigar pela vitória mais uma vez.
Isso eu não duvido, eu espero do fundo do coração poder falar contigo, não só como campeão, mas também como vencedor, né, semana que vem. Mas antes de eu te deixar aí, quem que tu tem que agradecer pelo resultado hoje?
Agradecer a Full Time, a equipe que tem nos proporcionado experiências fantásticas, ao Tony Canaan, né, nosso paizão, nosso chefe, ao Barreto, que é sócio dele na empreitada do time, e aos patrocinadores, que é a B8 Seguros e a Logitech. Agradecer também ao Jackson pela parceria aí no dia de hoje. Infelizmente ele não teve uma boa corrida, mas a gente segue firme e forte aí para a próxima, última etapa semana que vem. Vamos lá.
Isso aí, desejo toda a sorte do mundo e espero falar contigo semana que vem.
Obrigado. Vamos fazer a lição de casa para estar aqui, se Deus quiser, no lugar mais alto do pódio.
É isso aí, fechou. Até semana que vem, Pedro.
Valeu, um abraço.
Well, Andrew, there we go. That was Pedro de Oliveira, second place finisher. I mean, he talked about how difficult the race was, how difficult and complex the racetrack is. Obviously, we know. Even with everything that happened during the race, he's happy. He has absolutely no complaints throughout the race because he knows the gap at the championship. Ultimately, that's what really matters. Whenever I talked to him about the race itself, he thought it was going to be off the pace. He couldn't really get a lot of those hours in practice that he wanted to. He had internet issues at home. Luckily for him, he kind of stayed on the sim after his internet went down, so kind of got a bit of practice with the Porsche. Couldn't really choose the car. Kind of, I guess, just pushed himself to drive the Porsche. He kind of got really a lucky start after Scott's mistake kind of allowed him to battle for the lead, because we all know Scott maybe was the fastest guy on the track. And then obviously with his teammate, with Jackson Resende, he kind of got to compare the fuel mileage between those two cars, between the Porsche and the Mercedes, and he learned really early on that the Porsche was using more fuel, and he would have to put more fuel in the car to essentially, just make it till the end of the race. So he knew kind of that the undercut and just putting less fuel would not work. But yeah, after the pit stops, Matthew kind of got 1.5 seconds ahead of him. And then I talked to him about the mistake. After the back marker got in his way, he tried pushing a little bit too much, just overdrove the car on turn 2, kind of just got out of his way. But luckily for him, that gap to P2 to P3 actually was really, really healthy. And obviously I asked him, next week, you pretty much have 2 hands on the trophy, but he says, it feels good, to have the healthy gap, to just essentially needing to finish the race in one piece. But he's just gonna take it as one race at a time, same as he did on the past 6 weeks. And well, only time will tell. But I mean, we're pretty certain to who's gonna be the champion of the pro class, aren't we?
Yeah, it's not necessarily decided just yet, but Pedro de Oliveira is certainly looking the best of anybody. Minus maybe this moment on screen now, where he finally showed that he was human, went for a spin out of turn number 2, and showed that, yes, he does sometimes make mistakes. So Pedro is going to wrap up, I think, a fantastic season here in just another week's time. Full results here from Phillip Island. Let's take a look throughout our entirety of the 34 cars that showed this evening. The top 10 separated by 56 seconds total, it looks like. Matthew Danchicors with the race win. Pedro de Oliveira S in second. Scott Reister, that's a feel-good story. Despite spinning out of the lead, still third place. Really solid day, showing that he deserves to be up towards the top of the field, unlike last week at Hungaroring. Kevin Sandiego finishes 4th, Brian DeVries is 5th, solid top 5, really good days for those two guys in 4th and 5th. Scott Gimbro, another good one, in 6th. Bryce Rodriguez, very quiet run up to 7th after all the storylines he made at Hungaroring. Very, very quiet today, but still moves on up the order, finishes 7th, and at the very least is going to help himself out in the points. Fabio Zamperlini 8th, Pierre Thompson 9th, and Mike Braun, your amateur race winner, in 10th.
In 11th place, we're going to have a second place finisher, obviously in the amateur class and championship leader, William Coffey. John Sadlak is going to be finishing 12th place ahead of William Valdez, ahead of Ian Ward again in the 108, our last week winner. Sony Brown is going to be the first car to finish a lap down alongside Jeff Castillo in 6th place. Armando Bejarron is going to be finishing 17th place ahead of Dominic Angelicchio, who had lap 1 issues, so kind of a decent comeback for him. Daniel Hall is going to be finishing 19th ahead of our 2nd place in the amateur standings, Diego Aire.
Finishing 21st tonight at Phillip Island, you've got the number 141 of Matthew Casey, one of our top 10 amateur drivers in points. Should stay in the top 10, but not going to help him a whole lot in the points battles. Kenneth Michael will finish 22nd. Clarence Rosa, another amateur driver, followed up by two more AM drivers, Pamela Ferretti and Sean Patterson. That's your top 25. Rob Rodriguez Jr., after the troubles with Brian Long coming across his nose, finishes 26th. Joshua Benjamin 27th. More troubles there for somebody who looked like earlier on he could have contended for the amateur win. Billy Bowerman 28th. Johnny Jones 29th. And unfortunately, Jackson Rosende 30th.
Not a great race for him, and unfortunately not a great race for the final four. Mark Scott and Blake Scott, both 24 laps down, finding issues. The Scott Racing team unfortunately not having the best of weekends, not at the best of races. Brian Long is going to be finishing 33rd place, and 34th and last place is going to be going to Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez. Unfortunately for him, 35 laps down.
34 cars in total, 33 made the start. Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez unfortunately didn't quite make the call for the green flag, but a really good day at Phillip Island nonetheless. Some upcoming broadcasts here on Pit Stop TV. There's a bunch. To finish out the year in 2021, we've got a few extras, just continuing points battles in leagues, and next week we got a couple of championship races as well. Sunday evening, it's the SCAR, or Superior Class Auto Racing Grid Sports Car Challenge. On Sunday evening, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. The race pushed back 1 week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Usually, 1 week on, 1 week off, 1 week on, 1 week off. Basically, bi-weekly. That's going to change this week, where we're going to have two races back-to-back in back-to-back weeks. That's 8:45 p.m. Eastern Sunday night. Then Monday, we've got the Cedar Lake Speedway with the BRPI Racing Series. Joe Donahue will be back on the call for that one, of course, at least unless things change. That'll be a lot of fun as far as sorting out some points battles and seeing if we're finally going to get another race winner. We did just get Jimmy Porter going across the line first at Knoxville, but otherwise it's been all Brandon Plank and Garrett Zacharias. You will not want to miss Cedar Lake Speedway. Finally, then, we end the Outlaw Sim Series season at the Atlanta Motor Speedway on Wednesday evening at 7:30 Eastern. That's going to be a lot of fun, and I hear there's a special pre-race message for some of those drivers that you'll want to make sure you're around for. 7:30 Eastern time, Wednesday evening. That's going to be really, really cool. Emerson Arden, Devin Kent Zimmerman going to take you through the action there at Atlanta. It was a tumultuous race at Bristol to crown our championship 4, and I'm actually going to go ahead and check in their server real quick and see if I can find the championship 4 if they've been crowned. I don't know exactly yet, but I know that Joseph Kazi, Greg Holt, and Seth Berger seem like they should have moved on. I'm not so sure about the 4th place driver, so all the more reason to follow our social media channels here, JP. Plenty of ways to follow Pit Stop TV.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure you won't want to miss out the Outlaw Sim Series finale. Unfortunately, I couldn't really miss it because I couldn't really make it because my girlfriend passed on med school, so we kind of had to celebrate. But obviously, it's going to be a different reason to celebrate next week for these drivers. You can follow us and follow those celebrations at facebook.com/pitstoptv, at twitter.com/pitstoptv_, on Instagram at instagram.com/pit_stop_tv, and youtube.com/pitstoptv1. Follow us on all those social medias as well as Twitch, so you can follow us. I mean, Andrew, next week we're going to be crowning 2 champions, 3 actually, All Sim Series, and both on the NARL.
We've got Road America next week, Thursday evening, 9:15 Eastern. So, yeah, a whole lot to look forward to in this next week of Pit Stop TV coverage. A whole lot of racing and a whole lot of, 3 champions on the way. So, very, very cool stuff. You will not want to miss it. Follow along with us here at Pit Stop TV for more information about that. Final thoughts, though, here from Phillip Island. A brand new track to us here at Pit Stop TV, and man, did it live up to the hype.
Yes, it did. We talked about pre-race show. I mean, it kind of showed the best of both worlds. I mean, we saw the leader, Scott Reister, the momentarily leader, unfortunately losing it and losing his chance to win the race. Then we saw the championship leader, I mean, who we haven't seen made a single mistake throughout the season, losing control of his car all on his own. We saw amazing overtakes, amazing battles. I mean, we saw pretty much, I guess, a 60% side-by-side battle at one point with Ian Ward. I mean, how can we not want this racetrack back pretty much any car. I mean, I'm pretty sure any car would fit this racetrack well, and I'm pretty sure any organization will want to have this on their roster.
I think stock cars would even be a whole lot of fun here. That's something for some NASCAR leagues to look into. I want to thank our partners here at the North American Racing League. RaceLab.app, of course, can help you take your iRacing to the next level. Let's not forget Tam Livery. They can help you take your iRacing to the next level in a different way. Visually, of course. RaceLab can help you on the track. Tam Livery can help you look good on the track. Check them both out. And, of course, JS Consulting. I think 3 really worthy partners of an iRacing series. RaceLab is going to help you go faster if you're a driver. Tam Livery going to help you look better if you're a driver. And JS Consulting, if you're the league, is going to help you, well, do everything pretty much. So JS Consulting, Tam Livery, RaceLab, some fantastic partners here of the North American Racing League. And our own partners here at Pit Stop TV, they do a whole lot for us. Of course, Tucson Sound Art, TucsonSoundArt.com for a bit more info. But basically, it's a wall-mounted sound art device within a nice canvas, really. I've got one on my wall. Definitely live by this product. It looks good, sounds great. TucsonSoundArt.com. Use code PitStopTV at checkout for 10% off of your order. And that's the best part about it, I feel like. You get to save a little bit of money when you go to Tucson Sound Art. And doesn't everybody want to save money? Everybody likes free stuff, discounted stuff. Yeah, Tucson Sound Art, that's the place you got to go. Let's not forget Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine, where you deserve the best care that money can buy. Whiplash Media, the official broadcast graphic and camera provider of Pit Stop TV, and BAM Racing Videos, by a race fan for the racing community. That will do it from Phillip Island. Happy to have had you all here tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. For all of Pit Stop TV, JP Costa beside me on the mic this evening, Trey Shuttlesworth on our social media coverage, and even potentially you on our next crew call. Check us out. Email me directly at andrew@pitstoptv.com. We'll get you sorted out. My name has been Andrew Cardinale IV, and we will see you next time.